So guys, today we have to start not from the good news, I would say. Let's go to the Kursk region where Russia broke through Ukrainian defense. It happened between Sudzha and Guva. You can see how Russians advanced towards the Ukrainian border in Sumy. Let's go to the timeline so you can see right in 2 or maximum 3 days Russians were quite successful in this region. And let's go to the satellite map because it might show us more details. Well, it seems like Russians used this forest spot for their attack. Well, so far on the 3D military map source we do not have that update, but here let's check out terrain. Guys, there is no such a huge wall like that, but this terrain is kind of difficult in the area of the Russian army advancement. So here the ground goes down and up in this entire place. So my guess that Russians went here with infantry forces only. They've been spotted very close to Aleshna village. And as you can see here, there are 2 of the roads which Ukrainian army used for supplies, one towards Guiva and the other one goes to Sudzha. So with a single attack, actually Russia cut 2 of the roads in this place. Yes, unfortunately guys, the things are now getting pretty much harder for Ukrainian army to hold in the Kursk region in general, even though as you can see the main supply line is still under Ukrainian control. But if we check out the distance towards Russian positions, here it's roughly 6 kilometers, and let's measure over here 8 kilometers, which means that all of the Ukrainian supplies through this road are under the big threat to be hit by Russian FPV drones. And with this new update, the situation becomes even harder for Ukraine, it's obvious. Well, there is also a tiny little chance for Ukraine to counterattack Russian army in this area to close this gap and some of the Russian forces in this forest spot, but it depends whether Ukraine has enough resources for those kind of the operations. We'll see how it goes. I would say this Russian attack is also a failure of Ukrainian defense because it was really important to secure those 2 roads, and unfortunately, yes, it's the success of the Russian army. I would say the biggest success in the Kursk region so far for Russians. And there is also the chance for the Russian army to advance towards the Ukrainian territory in the Sumy region here. They already report on their channels that they've started the assault towards this road on Ukrainian territory. Well, for now, I guess they're bluffing, but in general, this variant is also possible. Because here, for example, they also went through the border to Ukrainian village of Novenke, which is still, as you can see, in a gray area, so potentially Russia may concentrate on cutting this road not in Kursk but in Sumy from 2 of the sides. Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. Let's go. My friends, by the way, if you want to support the job that I do here on YouTube, you may also follow me on Patreon. I'm gonna put the link for my Patreon page right in the video description below. Thank you so much for supporting my motivation. So yes, as you can see, the Kursk operation is kind of tricky. Russia also continued to push Ukraine from the north, taking more territories. Now Ukraine has to send more reinforcements to Guiva and to Sudzha, trying to cope with this new threat. But in general, like in this Kursk operation, I don't see the imminent threat of our guys being encircled. Like some of the media sources write that thousands of Ukrainian troops could be encircled in the coming days. It's not like that because still there is a big distance of the border which Ukrainian army controls. And in Guiva, in this part, it's also the same. Yes, Ukraine lost this supply connection towards Guiva, but at the same time there are some of the secondary roads from this place. Some of the people in internet start to say that it's some sort of the big failure of Ukrainian army, I mean this entire operation in the Kursk region, because Russia took initiative. And yes, Russia took the initiative a long time ago, but this attack, like Russians' attack, doesn't make this entire operation a failure. Yes, it's making the situation way harder than before, but it's early to say about the complete withdrawal of Ukrainian armed forces from Kursk. From the political perspective and what is happening around the Ukrainian topic worldwide, and especially from the United States of America for Ukraine it's absolutely not profitable to lose control over the Kursk region, because Donald Trump may say, oh, Ukraine is losing, and Russian propaganda will also spread it widely, but ahead of political goals will also should include the lives of Ukrainian soldiers. And I guess it's only Ukrainian soldiers who may say whether they should continue the fight there or not. Well, they do not have this vote, really like real vote, okay, we're gonna fight, we're not gonna fight, it's all being decided by the commanders. But from my side, for example, I cannot say that the Ukrainian army should hold in Kursk, should defend Sudzha and so on. No. I'm just this coach expert really far away from the front lines, really far away from Ukraine in general, and I cannot tell our guys whether they should defend this Kursk region or not, especially then it belongs to Russia originally. Like you can find in historical books that it belonged before to Ukraine, but no, we are not Putin, we don't need this land, we need internationally recognized territory of Ukraine in general, and I guess that the goal of this entire Kursk operation was to press Russia harder and to show that Putin's mighty army is unable to deoccupy its territories very fast. Just remember how this operation started in August 2024, how Russian army ran away with Akhmat TikTok battalion and so on. That created internal clashes between the Russian regular army and TikTok. So I wouldn't say that there is no profit from this Kursk operation. No, it was, and it was big. But at the same time, we understand that Ukraine had and has losses in Kursk. Moreover, Ukraine loses best of the best forces, best of the best equipment in Kursk, like Bradleys, Leopards, and our talented boys and girls, they take part in this Kursk operation. This operation was organized by Commander Syrsky. I guess that he bears a responsibility for this operation. So if everything goes tremendously wrong for Ukraine, he should respond for that. But for now, even with this, I don't see the sign that it is very, very terrible for our guys there. Yes, it's very hard, but it's not a disaster. So I just hope personally that it won't be the next Krinky operation. Then Ukraine landed to this region and hold it for many, many months. Ukraine used Marines and paratroopers, capable forces in Krinky. Our guys caused Russians many of the losses, but Ukraine also suffered tremendous losses and after all was forced to leave this shore. So I would call this particular operation in Krinky a failure, because every operation like that should have something behind it, some goal, tactical, strategical, possible success. If the success is not achievable, you should take care about your forces and get them out at the proper time. Well, it is hard to compare Krinky operation with Kursk, it's total different scale, different goals, but I just hope that if there is no tactical or strategical success for Ukrainian army in perspective in Kursk region, our guys would be saved by Ukrainian command. But again, I'm not the guy here to tell whether our guys should stay there or evacuate. The other problem is also that after the Kursk operation has started, Russia accumulated lots of the reinforcements in this place, so if Ukraine starts to withdraw the forces, there is the chance for the Russian army to proceed to Sumy region, so maybe it's better to defend this place, but again, I'm not the military commander. I tell you the things as they are from my personal perspective, from my logic, from my point of view, but I could be wrong also. Well, maybe you have your own personal opinion, so you may check out the comments and share your thoughts. And yes, unfortunately here, as you can see, for the last couple of days, there was just a Russian army advancement on the front lines. Well, actually, Ukraine continued to pressure the Russian army from many of the directions in Pokrovsk region, from here, and Udachne as well, but it is the only area where Ukraine is more or less successful. However, I would say it's one of the most important areas or regions, because with all of those counterattacks, Ukraine secures Pokrovsk, which is a very, very important settlement. So unfortunately, yes, there is the confirmation that Ukraine has losses in Kursk, and Russia is widely using the FPV drones with fiber optic cables. Because of this recent strong and reinforcement attack from Russia, Ukraine was forced to withdraw from many of the areas, yes, unfortunately, as you can see, with losses. But Russia also has losses. For example, this tank of the Russian army was spotted in Pokrovsk direction, as you can see, very close to the trench, and it was hit by Ukrainian FPV. The legacy media immediately started to say that Ukraine will pull forces out from Kursk. Intense Russian attacks force Ukraine to consider pulling out of Kursk. That's from Politica, and we have one more from New York Post. Ukraine forces likely to pull out of Russia's Kursk region within 2 weeks, they say. Okay, we'll see. Well, I'm sure that Ukrainian military command is also concerned about the situation, and they're looking for the possible solutions involving the variant to withdraw the forces from Kursk. It's always on the table, no matter what. like many other different variants as well. We'll see which variant Ukrainian army decides to implement here. Let's switch to the good news for Ukraine. Ukraine is attacking the Russian infrastructure just right now. It is happening in the Bryansk Oblast. It is some sort of the response of Ukrainian army on the recent strike of the Russian missiles on Ukraine. Yes, the last night Russia hit Ukraine with many of the drones, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles. Unfortunately, Ukraine lost the part of its energy infrastructure. There were multiple of the blackouts in many of the Ukrainian cities. This photo was taken from the Kharkiv city where Russia hit a residential building. Well, Donald Trump said today that Russia does a bad stuff hitting Ukrainian infrastructure, but at the same time he is determined that Russia is willing to make peace with Ukraine. Kind of the strange rhetorics and illogical at all. Yes, today we're also gonna speak about Trump, but not too much. Sorry guys, Trump news again, but I have to speak about it. So here Donald Trump threatens Russia with sanctions. Based on the fact that Russia is absolutely pounding Ukraine on the battlefield right now, I'm strongly considering large-scale banking sanctions and tariffs on Russia until a ceasefire and final settlement agreement on peace is reached. To Russia and Ukraine, get to the table now before it is too late. Thank you. And you know guys, again it shows that Donald Trump doesn't have a plan. He's like a bully, he's pushing everyone around, even his own friends. Well, maybe he doesn't consider those friends, I mean Ukraine, Canada and European Union countries. I guess that for him it doesn't really matter, but the statement that he openly threatens Russia with new sanctions tells that there is no common negotiation now between Russia and the United States, because there is no plan, as I continue to tell to you. But after all, for Donald Trump, it's much easier to push Ukraine because Ukraine is very dependent on the United States of America. And if Donald Trump thinks that Russia is afraid of sanctions, well, he is damn wrong. Russia has its own backup in China, in India and many other countries who are willing to purchase some of the Russian resources. And by the way, with all of that bullying, Zelensky's rating went up tremendously. His actions are being approved by 67% of respondents in Ukraine. As you can see, the trend wasn't that great for Zelensky. By the time Trump said that Zelensky got 4% of the approval rating, he actually got 52%, but the trend again wasn't good. So actually Donald Trump helped Zelensky a lot, increasing his support by 15%, which is quite a huge number. Yes, even me, I say that I would vote for President Zelensky if there are elections in Ukraine. Oh, it seems like there was a big scandal within MAGA leadership. A clash happened right in the White House between State Secretary Marco Rubio, the United States Minister of Transport, and Elon Musk. The conflict was started unexpectedly by Elon Musk. He accused Rubio that he's just efficient on TV and not in real life, and that he hasn't fired anyone. Well, Rubio said that it's all lies and some of the workers from the State Department are just retired. After it, Rubio started to make fun of Elon Musk, saying that he should hire those people whom he fired before to fire them again and to show it in media and X. Also, Minister of Transport Duffy accused Elon Musk that he wanted to fire some of the air traffic controllers, saying that it cannot be done because there are many of the aviation accidents happening. Duffy even said that he interfered not to let air traffic controllers to be fired. Well, Donald Trump also was present there by the time and he took Rubio's and Duffy's side. So they do not agree with Elon, and you see that Elon is now forced to wear a suit. Well, my personal opinion that Elon Musk and Doge will not hold on in MAGA team. They're too different, and Musk has his own ambitions, which in many of the cases contradict with Trump's opinion. So my guess that Donald Trump will get rid of Elon. Well, not today and tomorrow, but in the future. Well, I mean not physically, but Elon Musk will not continue to work in Trump's team. For me, it's understandable. A new statement from President Macron he made in Belgium. He says that he knows Putin and the Russian leader shouldn't be trusted. Russia already signed Minsk agreements. France was the part of the guarantee of those agreements, and France did everything to stop the big Russian full-scale attack on Ukraine, but it didn't help. And that's why Macron says that Russia should be forced for peace, and no deal is valid if we're gonna follow Russian demands. Otherwise, Russia wouldn't stop. And here I completely agree with the French president. France, Germany, United Kingdom, all of the European Union countries except Hungary, you're awesome. You're now the soul of democracy in this world, by the way, together with the Ukraine. Oh, is it even funny? Well, I guess in a way it is. Russian local officials gave some sort of the presents to the mothers who lost their sons in this war. Yeah, Russian mothers, so they obtained flowers and мясорубка, meat grinder. Okay, so definitely Russian officials, they have a dark, very dark sense of humor. Now, my friends, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot. As usual, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.